So great to have you on the podcast today, Tanya. I'm really excited to hear about your business and where you are right now. And I just want to, just before we get into anything else, just ask a little bit about what does Fitlife Sports Massage look like right now? What's your business and your life at the moment doing what you do?
Oh, thanks, James. It's really great to be here and to be invited to have a chat with you. Fitlife Sports Massage, at the moment, we are two clinics. We've got one north, one south of the river in Perth, and we've been around for about 5 years. It's been gradual changes in growth. We've got, at the moment, 3 therapists between those two locations.
Great.
And of course, I work in the business as well. So we predominantly see sports and remedial. Main focus in one location is athletes, and in the other location, it's more of a postural, work-related injuries that we tend to see. So we obviously get a crossover of both locations as well. So.
Yeah, fantastic. And actually, I first connected with you because I saw some of the posts you were putting up in our support network.
Yeah.
And I know that you're really passionate about what you do, and you do have a really good connection with your clients and what you're doing for them, as well as the business side of things. You've got this sort of really good balance between those two things going on. So I thought, what an ideal person to have a chat with, because this is exactly the kind of therapist that we love to see. And see how you're making this work to actually get a feel for that. So I'd love to, if you can imagine yourself going back, you said you've been running for about 5 years.
Yep.
In those first few months or the first year or two, were you straight away, did you have 2 clinics? Did you start by yourself or did you have staff? What did it look like for you back then?
Okay, so when I first started, I was a personal trainer before I became a massage therapist. So I had a bit of experience already with running a business that was just me, so a sole trader. When I started massaging, I started in a gym. I had a room that I hired, and there was a little bit of crossover between my PT and massage. So I slowly developed, and then I started to see that I really love to massage. I really love to help people and to fix. That was my big thing, like fixing things. And so that developed more and more, and I started to realise that was really what I wanted to do. So gradually faded out the personal training, and although it's still a big part of what I do with my massage clients as well, I started to increase my availability for massage, and it was slow. I probably started out with I would massage 1 day a week, and I would put about 10 clients into that. So
Nice.
and I was exhausted. It didn't. It wasn't a long-term plan, or I could see that it wasn't going to work for me too well doing it that way. So I increased the amount of hours over a week, and dropped the amount of hours in an individual day that I was working.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I stayed with the gym up until October, just gone. So we've been in that gym working out of there for 4 years, 5 years, before I decided that it was time. It was actually starting to limiting my access to a broader community. I think a lot of people are intimidated by the gym environment. While I was in the gym, I was approached by a physiotherapist who was local, who said, we should partner up, which we did. And then he said, I've got an opportunity at another location if you'd like to come in there with us. And then that's where it all started to blossom, really. I started employing therapists, and it went from there.
Growing.
So now, at the moment, we probably have about almost 50 available therapist hours. That's not to say that we're always booked up, but we're getting to a point now where that the demand is so great that I have to start increasing those hours. So my aim will be to double that within the next 12 months. So.
That's awesome. And having grown from where you are to where you are right now is a fantastic journey. And being able to double again in 12 months is a great goal too.
Yeah.
What I really love about what you've shared is that it's a really classic kind of startup that's working really well, in that the 2 things that I love. One is that you've got a really clear niche right from the start.
Absolutely.
Because of your background with PT, it suddenly becomes so easy to say, I'm working with sports people, I'm working with those active kind of people. You already have a better understanding of what they're going through, how their body's going to react to massage.
Yeah.
And working from a gym is a natural connection in that place too. It's like just entering that world so deeply.
Yeah, that in itself, knowing that I wanted to do sports massage, that it's still a really big niche. So that still needed further defining as well. So you still attract other clients from other areas. So I think that the more specific I've become, and what I've noticed is the more specific I become about the type of client that I want to treat, the more I see that particular client. But we also see others as well and are happy to treat those. And generally speaking, we don't do relaxation massage, but people don't come to us for that anyway. So
yeah.
That's
awesome.
It wasn't always that way. When I first started, I wanted to do everything. I was at events and I was willing to do corporate massage and I was willing to do mobile massage. Tiring. You can't be everything to everyone. And I think that's the major thing that I took out of that, is that I really need to focus on who do I want to see. I don't want to have these problems continuously, because with every success, a whole new range of problems arise as well. And so I want to be able to deal with the problems that I know I can deal with.
Yeah, great.
Get more for myself unnecessarily. So.
Because it really is. It's like once you get to the next level, you also just level up the challenges in your business too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Every time, every success brings a whole new range of problems that you have to deal with. And they're good problems.
That's right. A better class of problem. That's it's like, I'm getting a better class of problem right now. This is great.
Yeah.
And having a niche, I think for people who are just starting up, having a niche is really, really important. And it doesn't have to be sports. But this is a perfect example of how, if you do have a sports niche, this is the way to do it. You know, you're personal training, you're working in a gym, it's working really well. The other thing that I love about what you said in that mix is that you've connected with another professional, another health professional, a physiotherapist, and that in itself has probably come about because you're so strong in that niche. I imagine the physio is also working with sports. I'm just guessing that. But it's normally the way that it goes. Once you're strong in that niche, you become well known in that niche. It's not just clients that are attracted to that. It's those other partnerships that can come in. And it's not like that happens really quickly.
No,
but in your case, it has been a major stepping stone.
It has been. And the thing about the relationship that I've developed with that physio and a few others since is I believe in this particular physio. I thought that he was fantastic at what he did, and being involved with him maintains my integrity as well, because I feel that if I'm sending people to him, I know that they're going to get the service that I'm sending them for. So, and people that he's aligned with. So I guess it's finding someone as well that does align with your belief systems and how you want to see your clients treated.
Yeah, it's those values, isn't it? It's making sure that the values that you have for yourself and as a therapist in business, you want to make sure you're partnering with people who are the same. What did it actually look like when you first thought, hey, I might partner with this person? What did that little journey look like? Did they approach you, or did you start referring clients there and then one day just think, hey, I should take this person out for lunch or something? Like, what was that?
One of my things that I'm still to grow on even then is I'm not very good at establishing those kind of relationships. Relationships with clients, love what I do, I'm passionate about it, no problems. When it comes to actually establishing those relationships with other professionals, it's a bit scary. He approached me in this case, and I invited me to come and see him to be treated, because I do a little bit of sport as well and quite often have injuries myself. So I took him up on it, and we started chatting, and we've met for coffee, and then it just developed from there. But he was very good about establishing those links to start with, and of course that's something that is, I believe, it's essential.
Yeah, and it's formed a great part of your journey so far, and it's still something where what you can accept responsibility for is having a business that's got a reputation where a physio even knows who you are and is then, attracted enough to what you're doing to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, let's go out for a coffee. What can this, or come in for a treatment? Let's see how this can work. So it's still it's still a product of the work that you've been doing, which is really great. It shows that you're traveling along well there. What I'm going to ask you next is, I know for a lot of business people, when we first start a business, it can be incredibly challenging. And I often say growing a business can be one of the biggest personal development things we ever do, because it really challenges us inside as well as the kind of tactical, practical challenges. For you over your business, what would you say is the biggest challenge you've faced, whether it's a practical one or whether it's an internal one? What's the biggest challenge for you?
This has been, for me, the biggest personal journey, and my personal growth over the last 5-6 years has just exploded. My business is very much tied in with my life. I'm a mum, I'm a wife. I exercise. I like to be as healthy as I can. All of those things have to work together in order for my business to succeed. And I discovered quite early on that you can be a fantastic technician, you can be an awesome massage therapist, but if you don't have business skills or the right mindset, that you're not going to be able to progress much further past that, and you're actually making your life very, very difficult if you're trying to as well. So business person and technician, you are two different skill sets, completely different skill sets. So it's been a big journey of one of the things that I struggled with in the early days, and probably still do to some degree, is time management. So learning to prioritise my time with family, work, clients, and that desire to help everybody was a big, big struggle. But and saying that, business coaching, which obviously is what you do, is probably one of the best things that somebody starting out can do, because you're working on your own and you need that input from other people. You don't have the advantage of having meetings with people and brainstorming and being able to share ideas and have somebody point out the things that you could be doing wrong as well. So I found I did have business coaching for my personal training business, so that kind of got me started there. But reading and learning by making the mistakes, I think, and growing from that, and then realising when something's not working, there's at least one reason for it, and you've got to try and work out what that is and move on.
And a lot of that comes back to the mindset that you shared as well. Because challenges do come up, and when those things are in front of us, we really have two choices. We can either let them stop us, or we can figure it out and keep moving anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing that I found, sorry, James, to interrupt you,
go ahead,
was even with my business coaching, I felt that my integrity was at risk as well, and my authenticity. I don't want to look like and I'm not out there to just make money. That's not what I'm about. That's a byproduct of providing a good service, I think. And also I need to feed my family and myself as well, and there should be rewards for the effort that I've put in. So I felt that my integrity at times has been challenged, and I had to find a way to stay authentic and true to what I believe in, and have my work be congruent with everything else in my life as well, and it all has to tell the same story.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. And just to be clear too, you've never been a client of ours.
No, that's
I love that you're like saying business coaching is great and fantastic that you've had some good coaches. But just so everyone listening is clear, it's not with us.
No, it's not. And everything that I've seen so far as well that you guys are doing is some of it I wish I'd actually seen a lot earlier. So
well, there you go. Thanks, Tanya.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on, when you're talking about that idea of, sometimes there is a conflict, or a perceived conflict, I might even say, between making money or being good at business on one hand, and on the other hand, the kind of professional integrity you have around being a therapist, and that kind of duty of care you have to care for clients and making sure that connection is there. It is something that we talk about quite a lot. Obviously you treat more clients, you just end up being rewarded better for that. So the better you are at treating and enabling your community, the more you'll be rewarded.
Absolutely.
But how did you find that journey for you? Like you mentioned, it was a challenge to your integrity. What was it that you actually got out of that let you tick the boxes and say, yes, I have integrity and I'm earning money now?
Yeah, I think, when you see other people's successes and you think, oh, do I have to do that to become successful? Do I really have to get on Facebook and say, buy 5 sessions and get the 5th session free. And I don't want to be a salesy type person. I don't want my business to come across that way. I want people to know right from the outset that they're coming in to see me for a problem. I'm there to fix that problem, and I'd like to be a part of helping them maintain, good health. So I couldn't put the two together. I couldn't put the sales side together with, actually marketing my business, I guess, and being true to myself. So I do realise now that I can do it, but it comes from my education as well. And the more I feel that, I know a bit, and I can actually help people just by, showing them a few stretches maybe, or that also can bring in new clients as well. So I realise that there are ways and means of doing it without coming across as just trying to sell them a whole bit.
Too salesy. And the truth is, being too salesy is usually not the most effective marketing anyway. The people listening feel that as well. It's like, oh, what's this sales pitch? Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is much more like what we talk about. It's exactly the same as what you're sharing there. It's much more about exposing who you are and just authentically showing this is how I help people.
Yeah.
And then the right people are going to be like, oh, this is exactly what I need. And they connect in. And away you go. So you still have to be visible, you have to be out there, but it's about education, it's about connection, and just sort of sharing the journey that you're on and the kind of people that you help.
It's also about bringing, as we said with the physiotherapist, it's about bringing other people who can do the things that you can't do into your business to do that for you. And that was another big light bulb moment for me, because that's my team. They're the people that work for me. And if I can find the right people, and that's the hardest part, is finding people that do align with your beliefs. If you can find the right people, then get them to do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also like one of the things that a lot of our clients go through that is a big challenge in business is that hiring process. Like you just sort of mentioned, building a team, and definitely that includes your actual team as well as partners like physios and that. How did you find that process? Like, was it easy for you to find your team members, or was it a struggle? What was that like for you?
No, I find, staffing, and I find it difficult to find therapists because I have a very clear idea of the type of person that I want to employ, and because I employ, I don't subcontract. And it's been a bit, that's just for the therapists, but for the other people in my business, it's a journey. It is hard to find people who align with you, and sometimes it's quite by accident. But if you start stalking people on Facebook and their businesses, you get a good feel for what a person is like and whether they're going to align with you. And if you don't, you move on and try something new.
So, and what I love too is everything you're sharing, you're being quite proactive in learning how to find what it is that you need, even if it's not easy for you. Like even that you just mentioned, you're not just sticking an ad on Seek and sitting back and waiting for the right person to come in. You're proactively looking, you're stalking people, you're out there actually for the right person yourself. And that's the approach that I think has made that work for you, because it's something we hear all the time, is that it's hard to find good therapists that are good enough, aren't already just busy with their own clients, that are ready to work as part of a team.
That's right, and also because I want to maintain my niche as well. That's finding somebody in that niche who understands that it is a little bit different to working with 5 athletes in a row as opposed to 5 relaxation massages. There's a huge difference in the toll it takes on your body as well. So
yeah, and that's a good point too. Do you do any kind of training with your team or just for yourself, even around how to maintain longevity with that kind of output that you're doing?
It's not something that I have. We've talked about it, and it's actually something that I'm looking at implementing in the next couple of months. Is my therapists are all encouraged to seek treatment from each other, and that's part of their contract as well. It's actually in their contract that they need to have regular massage themselves, and that we provide that for them. So we really do want to see them with us for a long time. And that's, it's better for them, better for me, and everybody's kept much happier that way as well, and working
Yeah.
well.
Sounds really great. What
Yeah.
about, like, we've talked about some of the challenges that you've had in your business, and you've shared a few of the sort of tactics that's happened along the way as well. What would you say over that whole journey is your single proudest moment in business?
Oh, single proudest moment. I've got a couple. I think there is nothing quite like breaking even that first time when everything just pays for itself and you just go, oh my goodness, it's happening. It's starting to happen.
Who knew there'd be such joy in paying a power bill or something?
I know. There's money in the bank. That's great. So breaking even would have to be. But also when I see my staff really owning it, when they take such joy in having either fixed something or even getting a new client and making them regular and convincing them that they really do need to look after themselves. That's perfect. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. So
I love that, because you do have such a connection with your clients.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is that even for you developing a team, it's almost like a mentoring role with some of that language that you're using. You really care for your team as well as the clients that they're treating. And that's exactly how business should be, right? Everybody's pulling together and creating a singular vision, working towards that end goal altogether. What's next for you? I actually, one of the reasons that I touched base with you is because of that vision you mentioned earlier. You want to double your business or double the clients that are coming through, and you were sharing that in the group, and I'm like, oh, this woman, it seems fantastic. I'll give her a call or a message and see what's happening. But what's that going to actually look like for you? Will you need more staff, or what do you imagine the process will look like over the next 12 months?
In fact, that's my problem at the moment. Is I have clients wanting to book in, and not enough therapists to. When we moved, we have an extra room now. So my goal is to see both locations fully staffed for the shifts that I have. I work in shifts. We work in 4.5 to 5 hour shifts, and I want every shift filled across both locations,
Right.
which will then enable me to put more training programs in place for staff. And it's a building process. There are so many things I want to do, but I also want to. The space that I have has a bit of room to start some stretching and mobility classes, and that will be the next big thing once I have everything running.
Perfect. Because things like classes like that can actually help as part of your marketing as well.
Sure,
like running a class is great for your clients, plus it just gets word out there a little bit wider. It re-engages people if they might have fallen off the kind of community a little bit. They can come along to some class or a little educational event like that and be sort of re-inspired to come back for regular treatment. Do you, just to touch on that growth for a second, do you have a plan for your marketing for the year? Or are you relying on the kind of referrals with the physio? What's going to happen to you?
I just had a 3-hour meeting this week with my lady that does my social media and newsletter and blog post. So that's an example. I'm terrible at that sort of thing. I really am. I'm trying. I'm learning, because you do need to know. But I'm really, really quite terrible. We had an amazing meeting, and we've got such big plans for how we're going to get there. So there'll be a lot of fantastic content coming out on social media, especially in the next 3 months. It's huge. I'm really, really excited, because it's going to be lots of fun to do. And it will be interesting to see what kind of a response we get from our clients, our existing clients as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I love what you're sharing there. Thank you for sharing that. And a couple of takeaways that I would take from that is that, A, you've got some help. Like, you're sort of recognizing that you're still learning. There's a lot to learn. Yeah. You're going to take that journey, but you're getting help along the way with that, which is perfect. Yeah. We always talk about, you don't want to just abdicate and not think about it, not at the start anyway. You need to have an involvement there so that your vision and your ethics are in that marketing. Yeah. But at the same time, if you don't have time or skills, you don't need to sit there on a keyboard for hours and hours trying to do something you're not good at.
I've done that. I've done that to the point of so much stress. It's so not worth it.
And sometimes Honestly, at the start, people have more time than cash flow, right? So they've got time to sit there and do it, and that's great. But as
Yeah.
you grow and you get into a position where you're hiring other people and you've got a good number of people coming through, you start to exchange some of that time you're spending and all that. You've got cash instead. You start exchanging some of that cash flow for buying your time back, and you're able to then spend it on higher value activities in the business or even just doing other stuff. You can do whatever you like with that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I loved about that is that you are talking about content, not marketing or not advertising. It's like content is the word that you use. You're going to create content, and that's what shows people what you do, and it gets the word out to your niche. Well, this is the kind of person I am. This is the kind of business we run. And these are the type of clients we have. That's ideal marketing. I love it.
Yeah, and I think quite often people will look at your social media as a way of confirming that you are able to help them. They look at your social media, they look at your website, and if everything works together, even if they've been referred by somebody, they need confirmation that you're going to help them and that you're going to provide what they need. So I think that there's more value in that than saying, hey, book in with us, we're going to give you a $20 discount or something. I think
I totally agree.
Because, I don't think people are as focused on money as what we think they are. I mean, of course, everybody has a budget that they live within, but at the end of the day, you're going to pay somebody to fix your problems.
It's so true.
And you want it done. You just want your problem fixed, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right. And I love everything that you're saying. You're speaking my language so much with all of that. And it's just really great to see that you're putting those things in place and it is leading to growth. You're in the place that you are right now because you've taken all of these lessons, you've learnt them all as you've gone, and you're taking heaps of action in making those things happen. And that's just ideal. It's really fantastic to see that coming to play. So well done.
Thank you.
It's good to see that, Tanya. Now, just one last question. You mentioned you're growing and you're looking for staff right now. If someone happens to be listening to this and they're in Perth, if they're in that area, and they're interested in maybe applying or learning more about you, what would be the next step for them? Are you open to that? And we would.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, hit me with it. I think the best option for them would be to go and have a look at my webpage, and it's Fitlife Sports Massage Perth. Have a look, check to see that it's something that they would really be interested in being involved in. Have a look at our social media pages, and you can direct message me on social media. I vet all of that. So through the Fitlife Sports Massage page, or you can send me an email through the website as well.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It's been a really great discussion. So incredibly awe-inspiring what you're doing there. I really just love hearing the journey that you've been on, where you are now and where you're going in the future. Thank you so much, Tanya, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks, James.